Hello and welcome to the figure showdown. This is something new I'm trying. It's basically my own version of how Outside the Box Reviews does figure wars. I'm doing figure showdown. I now have two of the same figure. We have Corporal Hicks today. We have on the right McFarlane Movie Maniacs Corporal Hicks, and here we have the NECA Corporal Dwayne Hicks. These are two very different figures, spanning about 9 to 10 years in action figure engineering. So let's get on and take a closer look with the sculpt. And we're going to start with the McFarlane one here. And this is pretty decent for the time. It doesn't look anything like Michael Biehn. And I should know because I've actually met Michael Biehn. I've met the guy himself. Some of you may know that I have met Michael Biehn because I've posted about it a lot. But this, other than the head, I'd say it's a pretty good looking figure. The arms are huge. In fact, I think if the whole figure was to stand up, he'd be absolutely massive. He's just as tall as the NECA one, and this one's crouched down. So, this guy is pretty big in height. I think he's a little oversized. He's probably stand about as tall as a Predator, which is not really good. He has Born Again. Let me just get there. Painted on his shoulder there. The shoulder lamp's nicely modelled. The wire goes into the back. This piece of armour here is floating. Most of it's hard sculpted, but this little piece is a soft PVC. Same with this piece. If I remove the pulse rifle, which this is not his pulse rifle, by the way, this is the NECA one. I don't have the pulse rifle for this one. He does have the locker in there. I'm having to show it at an angle because I'll explain later in articulation why I'm not moving his arm. He has this weird golden lock. Not on the actual heart itself. If you look, there's this one right here, close to his bicep. Not sure what that's all about. He does have a removable knife, but we'll cover that in the accessories department. He has a welding torch. There. It's non-removable. Shins are nicely done. The shin guards. The crotch arm is nicely done. Overall, it's pretty good as a generic Colonial Marine. As a likeness to Michael Biehn, this doesn't deliver. The NECA one, however, fares very well if I just sort his positioning out. He has a lot of nice detail. This definitely looks like Michael Biehn from the 80s. Let me just remove all this extra crap off him because I've got a load of accessories with him. It's probably going to take me a minute. Some of these are very, very fixed in. Just give me a sec. How is that fixed in there? There we go. It's stuck under the shoulder lamp. NECA one did have a removable shoulder lamp. We'll cover that in accessories, but mine is glued on, so mine's part of the sculpt now. Yeah, I didn't want it removable, so I glued it on. As you can see, now this guy has very skinny arms compared to the McFarlane one. If you look at the size of the arms, the McFarlane one's somewhat a bodybuilder. But, come on camera, focus. There we go, as you can see. But these ones I believe are more accurate. Even though the McFarlane one does have pretty cool arms, the NECA one is more accurate. And he actually has sculpted arm hair. How is that for detail? The NECA one it looks pretty much similar, just a more slimmed down version and much more accurate. The welding torch is there, but we'll cover that in accessories. The knife is there also, but it is non-removable in this piece. Gone is the golden latch here. As you can see, it is smaller and on his chest. We have his pouches, his wrinkles in the clothing, and his shins, which are, again, the same as the McFarlane, but smaller and a bit more refined in detail. This is like a 2013 figure, or 2016. This guy was actually released 2 years ago, I think. No, last year this guy was released, but he used a mold from 2013. So he's really a 2013 figure, whereas this guy's a 2004 figure. Okay, so next section is paint, and this guy excels really well in paint. His paint is fantastic. The head paint is all nice and clean. Born Again is, as you can see, like I showed before, painted very nicely. The heart is painted very cleanly. All the paint is just clean on this guy. Both him and the NECA version share the USCM cold tag, and it is ironically the same on both figure, but this one's missing the 1 because it is scraped off for some reason. I'm not sure why. I think the paint's just rubbed off. The arm and the rest of it's just camo detail. Traditional camo detail. There's not much to really say other than the fact that it looks pretty good for what it is at the time. Hair is nicely done. The bandage, the headband is not well done. I have a bit of black. I have a bit of black wash from the hair bleeding into it. I don't know if that's common, but it seems like it would be a common thing. This piece is nicely rubberized, so you're not going to break it. And it's, overall, it's well done. The paint's pretty good on this guy. Onto the NECA version. His is not got as much paint, and I'll explain that, because the plastic used for the skin is actually skin-molded plastic, which I think is pretty cool. Same with Hudson, I think. I'm not sure if Hudson has it. I know Frost doesn't. But this guy uses skin-molded plastic, so it's a lot easier to capture the skin look. And since it's somewhat glossy plastic, it works really well. And looks like his skin's glistening with sweat, but not loads of it. His hair is blonder than the McFarlane version. As you can see, the McFarlane has brown hair, but both have a similar sculpt. The only difference is this one has the off face and the headset, whereas this one has the correct face, but no headset. Born Again is a lot harder to read on this version. The camera just doesn't want to focus. It is there. It's just very hard to read. He says hicks on his armor, which the McFarlane one actually doesn't say that. So that's interesting. Again, the lock and the heart are painted very cleanly. All the grenades are done in the same camo detail. He has a kanji painted on his back, and below it are the words lifer. Tuck that in there. And his patches and his armor are all done nicely, and his boots were even done well. So that's pretty cool. As for accessories, the McFarlane figure came with a fair few. There were 2 variants of this. I only have the pulse rifle variant. There was a variant with the helmet, and he had the shotgun. Obviously, I don't have that version. Mine would have come with a pulse rifle, which is exactly why I was posing him with the NECA one. It would have looked like this, but it would have looked a lot bigger and boxier. This guy doesn't have it. He does, however, come with a stand, and some people say you can put a NECA one on here. No. Instantly, when I saw this, I thought, those pegs are way too big. And they are. They're too big. Look at the size of the peg holes. Freaking huge. The McFarlane ones are compared to the NECA one. So the McFarlane one came with this. You could probably pose a NECA one on it, just not peg it in. But it would be unsightly because of the pegs. But this has a nice detail to it. It's obviously the hide flooring. It's obviously the seam. It's obviously ripped from the seam where there's a little white goo there. I don't know what that, or paint. I don't know what that's all about. But it's obviously from the scene where they're walking into the hive just before they get ambushed, and most of them get killed off. So the fact that it comes with this version, which looks like he is after that, is a little bit inaccurate. But he can only peg on it the one way. He pegs on it pretty nicely. It's probably how I'm going to have him pose. The NECA one came with significantly more. One of mine is modified. It is the helmeted. You get an alternate head. Now, you had to get another variant to get this originally, but with this special 2-pack release with Hudson, you get everything from both those figures included. You get this head, and I actually took the time to carefully modify it. I have yet to paint that clay in there for the hair to make it seamless. I have removed this, so you can just... Let me just focus this. You can just take this and put it over his normal head, and it works just fine after a bit of positioning. So that's cool. You do get the torch. Oh, I forgot to mention, the McFarlane one has the removable knife, but because of the way it fits, it's curved. And he can't hold it. He can't hold it. His hands are too big. You put it in this hand. If you put it in kind of like that, nice intention, poor execution, I gotta say. But it's a nice little thing. The neca one, obviously, you know, I've shown the helmet, showed the head. He does come with the motion tracker, and it has a little decal on there, which is very nice. I can't think I can get it to focus because it's an iPhone, but there we go, as you can see. There's a little decal in there, and even the numbers are printed out. I can definitely not get that to focus. But the numbers are in there, and if you look carefully enough, you'd have to see this with a naked eye. There are actually numbers printed in on each of those buttons. So that's pretty cool. The shoulder lamp is there, but mine's glued in. Because it comes out all the time. This welding piece is actually removable. Now, some people think you put it in there, but no. It goes down here. Now, this is a pretty nice piece. And unlike the McFarlane version, who can't hold anything but his pulse rifle, this one can hold it, and you can actually pose him using it. This has to be applauded here. NECA should be commended for their work on this figure. Not to say the McFarlane one's bad, it was good for the time, but it does have a lot of design choices. Maybe it could have come with an alternate hand. Actually, I won't put it back in here, it'll just waste time. The NECA version comes with the pulse rifle, which the McFarlane version was rocking. It's probably I'm going to have the McFarlane one posed, since Hudson's always going to have his pulse rifle. And I'm planning on getting the accessory pack at some point. Then again, I might just give this back to Hicks at that point, and then give the McFarlane one the spare pulse rifle from that set. He comes with, let me just get it sorted out. He comes with a very special accessory, which is how I always have Hicks posed. Because it's a unique weapon, and it's Hicks's main weapon. A holster. I like to keep this handy for close encounters. The shotgun. Yes, this is a very nice piece. I like this. This is pretty good. It's beautifully done. The handle's got wrappings all over it. It's really, really well done. Doesn't have the loading door underneath, but I wouldn't really expect that. However, the pump is beautifully done. It's got engraving sculpted in it, and it is good. It is really good. If you wanted to paint this like the Colonial Marine, like the version from the Colonial Marines game, you'd have to put acid damage on into the barrel, and then put numbers and letters all over that. You know, this is to do with Hicks. Because this had acid damage, but I don't think the barrel would have completely melted off, because all of the acid from the alien's head seems to go that way. Whereas it didn't just go that way, because the shotgun came out that way with a blast, and then it blasted it. Some may have got on and scorched the barrel, but from what I could tell, in Aliens the acid wasn't all that corrosive, because it only burned Hudson's arm like only so much. It didn't melt it off like it did in Alien vs Predator Resurrection, where it melted a guy's face off, and it melts someone's arm off at the elbow. It would have just damaged this, probably maybe tarnished the barrel an awful lot. May have done some slight warpage, but I don't think we've done too much damage. I might be wrong, but that's just my opinion. Oh, my theory. Now on to articulation. This is where the McFarlane one fails really badly. But to be fair, this is an older figure. Now, I've actually looked, and if you look in there, you can see a little rectangular notch. That means the head is on a hinge and swivel, and it goes this way. It does move forward and back a tad bit, but I don't want to do that because I believe this guy has clear plastic all over him. What do I mean? Well, I'll show you in a minute. So the head does that. Now the articulation is asymmetrical in both the arms. This arm can go forward and back, only this much, and in and out. No bicep swivel, does rotate. The hand is on a cut joint. The waist is on a cut joint. Both the shins are on a cut joint. But here's the problem. This arm. It would do the same as this, but it also have a bicep swivel. Mine's totally busted. As you can see, that's clear plastic that's been painted. If I just show you here. God's sake. That's clear. So mine is totally busted. I'm probably going to have to glue the arm in place. The glue hasn't settled in very well on the part of this review. And this part actually broke off as well when I tried. On the camera's going over. Yeah. It probably hasn't settled very well. The glue hasn't set. As I say, I tried gluing it in there and it just hasn't worked very well. So I'm going to have to glue that in permanently. And his wrist also rotates. He would have had a bicep swivel. When I glued this piece back on, it just seized the whole thing up. So, yeah, this guy really is only meant to be in the one pose with the gun, and that's it. Neca one is chock full of articulation. We have a double ball peg at the head. And I know because when you switch them over, and this comes out nice and easy now, as you can see, it's a double ball peg. So that's pretty cool. The shoulders are on pin sockets. These don't feel fragile at all. They feel nice and sturdy. Hinge that goes out to the side. A bicep swivel. A single hinge at the elbow with a rotation at the forearm. But I don't want to move that because it feels like it's just going to twist and destroy the whole joint. A hinge and swivel. Hinge and swivel at the wrist. A mid-torso ball joint, which is on a double ball peg. And then a cut joint just below that. Legs are on a disc hinge in there that has a disc inside here that allows it to rotate, and then it's got a disc here which allows it to go out to the side. A bit complicated, I know. So it's a ball hinge with a disc connected to it. It has an upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees, ball peg at the foot, and a toe hinge. That's pretty cool. So it's very Marvel Legends-esque, or Marvel Legends. So, overall, these figures are both decent, I'm going to say. McFarlane version, apart from that, of course. The McFarlane version is old, and mine isn't in the best of conditions to begin with, just because, well, he's brittle. I'm going to put some more glue on that joint. And the arm is probably never going to be used again. God, that glue stinks. So he's probably going to... I've just rested it on there, and the glue is going to probably grip it in that position. So he's probably going to be given this pulse rifle and stayed with. If you really want this guy, I'd go get him, but I can't say he's an important one as Hicks. If you want a real Hicks figure, the NECA one does it justice. The NECA one does Michael Biehn so much justice, it is good. Not to say this is a bad figure. As a generic Colonial Marine, this will do the bill. It just has similarities to Corporal Hicks. Although this is a lot heavier than this one, ironically. And that's not because of the base. Actually, the base is pretty much part of the weight. It's solid. Look at that, it's a thick piece. So... yeah, they are both great figures, but obviously this one can be a standard Marine in your army. This one can be Corporal Hicks, and with all his stuff. Obviously he could just be a background guy, just stood there, but he's not really going to serve very well as Hicks, because if we bend this guy down and try and make him match the McFarlane one's pose, you're going to see he's significantly... actually, is he? Yeah, he's a little bit... he's ironically the same height. What the hell? So, I think if the McFarlane was to stand up, he'd be a little bit taller. So, I take back what I said about him being really big. I'm confused. This guy should have had leg joints, maybe. Would have been cool, but he still sculpted well. If you want a super articulated figure and you love NECA, this is the one to go for. But if you're a big fan of McFarlane, then this is obviously the one to go for. Just keep in mind that that likeness is not going to do Michael Biehn or Corporal Hicks any justice whatsoever. And the glue's finally settled on the arm, because it's got a pin and socket in there. That's how they're both able to rotate forward and back. God, what gas. Ugh. I picked this up today from a guy in Manchester in Affleck's Palace called Star Wars Man 51. He has Instagram. He gave me this for free, actually, because... it just wasn't sellable, and even he knew it wasn't sellable because it was busted. He said he was going to chuck it, but I said, well, I'll take it if it has the arm. And he looked, and he obviously found the arm. And I didn't come with anything. It was just a figure at first, but then I saw that stand, and I instantly went nuts and said, that's the stand for it. And I said, would I have to pay for that? And he went, Nah, I'll just throw it in there. So he threw it in for free. He also gave me this kind of Terminator as well, which I've just stiffened this arm up with nail polish because it will just sag around. I also took this. Again, everything out here was optional to take. These 3. And this was optional. It is missing a leg, but I'm probably going to sculpt one, maybe a robot one or something. And just have them as a cyborg version of this character. It's from Torchwood, but I don't know what it is. But the main thing I paid for was this guy. 25 quid for Anti-Venom. Marvel Select Anti-Venom. And this is a good figure. I have shaved away some plastic in the joint because I did pop his legs off. And I was a bit annoyed, actually, that Diamond Select did this. The ball joint was surrounded by a big thick rim and his leg just couldn't move forward, so shaving away some material, he can now sit down and he can run and whatnot because it's a ball peg. I'll see if I can pop it off. I might not be able to now, but no, but the legs are on a ball peg and then they're on a swivel, so they really couldn't rotate that. They could only rotate, and that was annoying. They could only go forward about that far. So, and I wanted them to go forward really far like that. Obviously, I've shaved away some plastic so it can do that. And yeah, this guy's review is going to be coming straight after. So stay tuned for that. And yes, the Ben 10 figure is painted. I've just got to neaten up the paint tomorrow and then review it. It's still sticky because it's enamel paint and the paint takes ages to dry. But still, enough about that. The main attraction is these 2. Obviously, the NECA one is better of the 2. But the McFarlane one is very different. As one of my friends, Knick Knack Reviews said, it's like comparing oranges to apples. And to be fair, this is actually, I'm going to actually recommend this in a historical fashion. As a relic, this thing does well because this is what we had back. This is what people had back in the day. Didn't have NECA. NECA is a sub branch of McFarlane. People branched out from McFarlane and made NECA toys, and then so originally it was all McFarlane, who had figures like this. They had the Predator 2 one, which this guy's pretty good. This guy I also got from Star Wars, man. Yeah, so it's pretty cool, really. So I'm going to recommend both of these for different reasons. This one for historical value, this one for character and collectible value. Although this one is pretty much a collectible. If you can find it for a good price and good condition, go for him. If anyone tries to rip you off, don't. Again, I didn't pay anything for mine. I got given it for free. I would have probably paid a fine. I don't know how much I would have paid for him, but I don't know, really. Not a load, but had he been complete, I don't know. I saw him there and I took the chance to get him, and he actually does have barcoding on his stand, and he's got a lot of muck on the bottom of his stand, so I don't know. But I'm not going to say it's going to be stood like this. But still, I'm going to recommend both of these, like I said. Post in the comments which one's your favourite. Please like this video. Subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on, and please share this video with a friend because I need all the views I can get, and I'm desperately asking for views because I'm sad and I don't get many views on my channel. Oh well, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.